what do you want to build?
Well, like a flower and a butterfly, I guess.
All right. What are you imagining as you talk about a flower and a butterfly? What's it going to look like?
Well, I need like petals and wings for the butterfly, but this will be the stem, and then this will be like the base for the flower, and then weld it, and then we'll need to do some.
Butterfly out of an old spark plug. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's weld the base on first, and then you can weld the top piece on, and then we'll get out the cutting torch and warm it up so you stretch it with heat. Okay, gear up. What you're going to do, pretend this is where the face of your flower is pointing, is that way. You're going to build your flower backwards. I'm just going to throw one together, for example. You can just line those up around there like that. Build your whole flower out of whatever size you want. And then this can go in the center, and then that'll go into your flower. Okay? Are you good with that?
So, like, the face will be facing down?
Face will be facing down.
Okay.
Once you get this layer built, you can lift it up and put another layer, like for a bigger flower, with another row underneath this. But start with your center.
Would I be able to weld on this? Is this good?
You go ahead and weld on this. It will not. This is copper,
Okay.
so you can't actually make the weld stick to it.
Okay.
And that's why we use this.
Okay.
So anyway, go ahead and start.
Welding.
Kale, I'm going to heat up the spring, and then you pull it to the shape you want it to be. Okay?
Move it up a bit more. Like over here. That's good.
Okay, Kale, I'm going to have you think about the balance. This thing has to sit on the counter and not tip over. If you bring it out here and you hang the whole flower off of here, where's the balance? Okay, so now with your base again, bring the flower back this way so that by the time you come up, your flower is going to be in the center. Okay, just for balance. So I'm going to heat this. And go. I'm just going to heat into these two coils. And you pull from this side, just pull it out, and we'll worry about tipping the top in later. There you go. Nice.
Whoa, cool.
So what we'll do on this one to get the butterfly wing nice and wide, I'll heat up this part. You grab the pliers and you just pull it out a bit. Then I'll heat up down here and then you push it back in so that it'll just widen that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Now I see.
I'm going to bend it down a bit.
Because my dad is a welder, and when my parents were together, he used to come home every night and smell like weld. So that's the reason why I like it so much.
Hi, my name is Lloyd. We are winding up a renovation project on this house here. This was a house that was a rental property for about 10 years prior to this. And this is what we do. I buy and renovate and rent out and sell houses. When I was growing up, my dad had MS, so he was around a lot, but he was not really into showing us or teaching us boys how to do things. It was nice, but he wasn't really good at teaching. He was good at instructing after the fact. As a teenager, I didn't really have any adult mentors. Anything that maybe my older brothers were somewhat influential, but they weren't that much older than me, so. I got involved in mentoring others. Probably started out with my own boys. I spent a fair amount of time with them, teaching how to do things and that sort of thing. In later years, I've seen a need within some of our family members, our family and friends, where the boys were coming from either an absentee father or fatherless situation.
My name is Tanya, and my son is Clay. Clay is 13 years old. I think that being a teenage boy is difficult as it is. Clay's dad passed away almost 4 years ago now, and so it's me and his two sisters at home. And so this has been a great opportunity to spend time with men that I know are, solid role models and biblical men, as well as another boy. And so it's at a great time in his life where he's gaining independence and growing into who he's going to be, where he's able to be exposed to the world of men in a really positive atmosphere. They have been memorizing biblical scripture so that Clay can be prepared and watch out for that and grow spiritually, as well as with the tools and the skills that he's learning and the relationship that's being built around that.
All right, my name is Clay and I'm 13 years old. Thursday nights started from Lloyd inviting me and me just wanting to be able to learn how to do some of the stuff. Lloyd taught me soldering. So we soldered, connected wires together. So that was quite fun. We tore down a shed and then rebuilt it in Kale's backyard for him and his family. And yeah, that took longer than we expected. It was fun to be able to take something and build it into something better. Something valuable I learned from that project was not to sledgehammer a wall in. It was more fun, but not practical, so just pull it off instead of smashing it to pieces.
Mentoring others has affected me very positively in that I get to see the outcome of some of this stuff. I've worked with a variety of young men and women over the last few years, and it's really rewarding to see them just take off and grow wings and use some of the skills they've learned.
I've really found that having an outlet for Clay to be able to work hands-on and to build things with his hands has been really beneficial for him. He gains skills doing this that are different than what he gains in school or any of the sports camps that he's involved with. The other day I was trying to put a drill bit into the drill, and Clay has learned the skills that he needs through this to be able to very confidently say, "Oh Mom, do it like this."
Thursday nights has helped me to kind of know where to turn when I need help. I know where to go and the right things to do in situations and how to get myself out of bad and dangerous situations. A lot of kids my age, yeah, they're into like all the computers and stuff. But the thing is, so they're interested in like making websites and all that kind of stuff. But you can't make the website without the computer.
When I see young teenagers today, I sort of see that they are a little bit lost and confused. I think they're looking for answers in technology, and I think there is a lot of answers in technology, but I think in the process they're not getting a chance to do any kind of hands-on skills as far as learning to build things or how things actually operate. A single mom needed a garden shed, so we talked about it with the boys, and they thought it would be a good idea to tear it down and reconstruct it. So that sounded easy enough. Some of the challenges were a little bit overwhelming in that the shed was built originally. None of the pieces were cut properly. It had been made originally out of recycled materials the first time, so the lumber was full of knots and twisted and a real mess. And it was awkward sized pieces, but the boys are really good. They kept at it, and eventually we got it all back together and made something usable out of it.
What are you guys doing today?
Smiling.
What's the project?
Recycling the shed.
Okay.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking this building apart in the same order that it was put together originally, see? So when it was put together, you start with the floor and then you put it together from the floor up, right? So when you take it apart, you got to take it apart in the same order. So the siding would have been the last thing to be put on this building. So we're going to start by taking that off.
All right.
So let's grab some bars. You've all been safetied. There you go.
Fun.
Now see, here's the problem. We have to get the safety trailer out first so that we can do this. So what we'll do in the meantime is you'll get your hammer and you'll just pound these over so that they don't get stepped on. Like when you're doing that, you're binding the saw. You're trying to turn it, right? You can, right? It has to keep the speed you're going when it's cutting nicely. That's the blade speed you have to keep. Otherwise, you're binding the saw, and it's going to get dangerous, right? Plus, it's really hard on the saw and the blade. So come back to where you need to be, and then start it again. And you make sure you don't put any pressure on that blade, okay? Keep that out there, because otherwise you can pinch the blade.
So what are you guys doing here? Tell me the story.
It's all on you. We took down a shed. We pulled out all the nails from all the pieces we needed and just loaded them into the trailer.
What are you gonna do with all this stuff?
Build a shed.
I get the pretty ones.
What kind of gloves are those, Kale?
Pretty ones.
Do you want some like tough Rockstar gloves?
Sure. They got holes in them.
Look at this, Lloyd.
I got pink ones.
He's trading in my Rockstar gloves for your
Dodge gloves.
Dodge gloves.
They rip like a Dodge.
Well, that's good. I'll give these back to my wife.
No, I got some tough looking gloves here.
Yeah, but I got these. completely not attached to anything.
Okay, that's the general. And I think this is a good time for you guys to learn how to use the cordless nailer.
That's the cordless nailer. I love it.
And there's the cordless nails.
Very specific, Lloyd.
Yeah.
I want you to measure those plates.
So let's just, instead of the metric, you would be centimeters, millimeters, centimeters, and then meters, right?
Just to learn how to read that. How many inches?
5 feet and 66. I think.
What, how many inches? Bottom line. Exactly 66. So it's 5 feet 6 inches. So which is 66 inches. Right?
So you're making sure that that end is the same as this end. Look at that, boys. We are bang on.
If you come up 3 inches short on one end,
Yeah.
by doing it one way versus the other,
Your sheeting on the outside should be the same either way.
that,
Technically, your sheeting on the outside should be the same. Your wall lengths will be different.
Start like benching it. One-handed.
That's the trick.
My name is Kale. I'm 13 and I'm from Red Deer. I have been mentored for the last 6 months on Thursday nights. Welding and woodworking, and for the past 5 months I've been building a shed for my mom.
My name is Brandy. I live in Red Deer. I have 3 kids. My oldest is Morgan, and Kale, and Mackenzie. I needed a shed, so I was able to house my bicycles and lawn equipment and all the miscellaneous things that needed to be stored. How the shed got built is that my son joined a mentorship program on Thursday nights, and he knew that I really needed a shed. So it was mentioned in the group that Mom needed a shed, and it was something that would be really cool for it to be built. And I think that's where the vision came about, and that's where his heart was to build me a shed, and this group helped him facilitate that. I was looking for a way to have more influences in my son's life. As a single mom, I was having a hard time knowing things like mechanics and welding and all these things that he was interested in, but I didn't have the knowledge for. These strong influences came in his life, and then was able to feed him some knowledge that I wasn't able to do spiritually, and with even just with the skills that they were teaching him, made such a huge difference in his life. I was finding that my son was struggling in school. You know, we had some friend indifferences. You know, he was really looking for something outside of himself, and we weren't really sure how to find it. And so finding this leadership just kind of made him more grounded, made him feel important. It made him feel validated. It made him feel like he was worth it. And so his behavior changed. I was starting to see he was more respectful, and he just was more of a joy to be around, more so. I think these days It is so missed with young people, whether they come from one parent families or two parent families, and just, I think people need others to pour in their love and their expertise.
Huh? What? Oh.